Disney Princesses, A Moment to Remember. Princess Aurora sighed. Life in the palace was so very different from the quiet glade where she had met Prince Philip. That night, there would be yet another royal ball, and the fairies were arguing over what she should wear. "Now, dears," said Flora, "we all know that this outfit suits Aurora best, don't you think, Aurora?" Before Aurora could answer them, Prince Philip came into the room. "Hello, dearest," he said. "Oh, Philip, I'm so glad to see you," Aurora began. The royal florist interrupted. "Princess Aurora, could you please tell the royal table setter that she must place flowers on the middle of each table tonight?" "And could you please tell the royal florist that our guests won't see one another if I put this big flower arrangement in the table?" said the royal table setter. "Let's put just one flower on each table," Aurora suggested. "A single flower," mutters the servant. "The guest will be insulted." "You were saying, dear?" Philip asked. "Pardon me, princess," said the royal steward, "but you must approve the seating arrangement." "Thank you, steward," said Aurora. "I will look at them when we return," Prince Philip finished. He took the surprised princess's hand. "We're going out, where no one can ask us anything." As they mounted their horses, Philip turned to Aurora. "I'm sorry, I forgot the royal guard must come with us." Aurora looked at the 10 riders behind them and tried to hide her disappointment. Then she leaned down and whispered to Philip's horse. Samson charged away from the palace with Aurora horses following him. Soon the royal guards was far behind. "Whoa, Samson," Philip shouted, but the horse galloped deep into the forest. When Samson stopped suddenly, splash! Philip sailed over Samson's head and landed in the stream. "No carrots for you, boy," Prince Philip scolded his horse. You looked up and saw Aurora trying to hide a giggle. "Do you remember this place, Philip?" Aurora asked. Philip climbed out of the stream. He pulled off his boots and dumped the water out of them. Aurora took off her shoes, too. She spun around gracefully, humming the tune. "Yes," Prince Philip said softly, "I remember this place." "I will never forget that day," said Aurora, "no matter how crowded our lives become with royal duties." Prince Philip smiled. "Nor will I," he told her. Philip and Aurora held hands, wishing they could bring the peace and love they knew in the glad back to their palace. Their peaceful moment ended with the royal guards thundering into the glade. Philip put on his hat and cape. Then he handed Aurora a single flower. Aurora took the gift and smiled. "We should go back and get ready for the ball," she said. "You go ahead, dear," Philip said. "I'll be back soon." As she rode off, Aurora decided to plan a special surprise for the prince. Meanwhile, Philip had a surprise of his own. "Not a word of this to the princess," he said to her animals friends as he gathered some flowers. For the rest of the afternoon, Princess Aurora worked on Philip's surprise. Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather fluttered about, helping wherever they could. More than once, Aurora heard a servant murmur, "Our guests will certainly be surprised." Aurora just smiled. "It is Prince Philip I want to surprise," she said. Not a word of this to him. That night, after the fairies had helped Aurora into her gown, Prince Philip came into the room. He held out a simple crown made from the flowers from the glade. "Would you like to wear this, too?" he asked. "Oh, Philip," Aurora cried as she put on the crown and hugged her husband. "It's perfect for the evening." Aurora led Philip down the stairs to the ballroom. "Now I have a surprise for you. The ballroom is dark and empty." "You've canceled the ball?" Prince Philip asked. "No, Philip," Aurora answered. "I brought a bit of our little glad to me in this beautiful crown. Now let me take you back to our glad." A sweet breeze blew through the flowers and trees in the ballroom's courtyard. Water danced in the fountain. Candles flickered in the darkness. "The glad will always be our hearts. In our hearts," Aurora whispered, "but now it's in our palace, too." Just then Philip's father, King Herbert, approached. "This is much better than the stuffy balls I usually attend," he said to Princess Aurora. "Thank you, my dear." And as Aurora and Philip danced, their little friends added their own magic from the glad.